We're in Milton Keynes for CRE 2024. It's great to have your company. I'm Chris from Monkey Nut, and I'm delighted to be joined by Liz from Allen Organs.
Hello.
Hi, Liz.
Hello.
It's great to have you here with us here at CRE. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk organs because they are brilliant things that we find in churches. But talk to me specifically about Allen Organs and how you first began.
So my dad set up Allen Organs in 1969 with a business partner. I grew up doing this and listening to organs and playing and everything to do with organs. In 1985, my dad hired this good-looking service engineer, who I subsequently went on to marry, and we have 3 children. And now he and I run Allen Organs together, and our youngest son is involved with the business as well.
Wow.
So
it's
we're
a
going
proper
into our
family
third
business.
generation. Yes.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's really, really brilliant. And organs have kind of moved on a little bit. So when I think of an organ, I think of, as I mentioned in the beginning, I think of that big church organ, and you find it with pipes and it's huge. Or if you're watching this and perhaps you've seen something at the Royal Albert Hall and you've seen that huge organ there, that's how I think of an organ. Is that something you guys have dealt with?
We do. We can build organs as big as that.
Wow.
But our instruments are all digital.
Mhm.
Rather than pipes. So in essence, we have sampled a pipe organ, and everything goes through our own system and our own speakers. But equally, we build organs that are tiny, that go into the smallest little parish churches, and just do their job week on week.
So let's talk about the pipe organ before we get onto the digital side of things. It seems like a huge task to get something so big and gigantic. Well, it seems big and gigantic, and I guess they all come in different shapes and sizes, and some run under church floorboards and all sorts. How difficult are they to build, I suppose, is the first question.
They're very difficult. I worked with a pipe organ builder, so when I said I wanted to work in the organ industry, my father made me go and do a year with a pipe organ builder, yeah, it's a huge amount. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of heavy lifting. There's a lot of expertise that goes into it. What we do is slightly different, but we're always looking to create that pipe organ sound with our instruments.
Nice. And of course, you're on the digital side of things now, which is kind of the way of the world, isn't it? It's gone digital.
Yeah.
So you've been able to capture that old pipe organ sound. You put it into your Allen organs, which is really, really nice. How do you do that? Is it literally recording, playing a note, and then capturing it in digital? Is it as simple as that?
In essence, so you do one recording of a pipe very close up. We then take a recording of the pipe of that particular pipe in the middle of the room, and then we take it at the back of the room where it's had an opportunity to use all of the acoustics within the building, and then we look at it all on an oscilloscope and sit and look at it all and lay it all over each other. But so in essence, yes.
Wow.
It's 3 samples for each stop, for each note of each stop on the organ.
I was going to say, a digital organ, does it still have all the stops? Because I know an organ of having all these, and you might have seen it in cartoons where you're pulling out literally big pipe. Well,
they don't have to be.
No.
So you can use that's a draw stop. You can use a draw stop and it pulls out. And yes, it's very traditional. It's a very expensive way of controlling an organ. These days, probably 80% of the organs we build are what we would call stop tab organs. So it's a little switch that lights up at the top, and it saves a massive amount of money for churches. It gives them they have the same sound. It's just very slightly different the way it's controlled.
Nice.
And yeah, with the technology, of course, now we can you can download an app, the Allen app from the App Store, and you can control the organ, and you can make it play itself from the app on our system we have, which is called Genesis.
Oh, that's really amazing. So if you are lacking a church organ, because that's another subject I suppose we could get onto, that church organists are now, well, they're not quite in short supply. There's still plenty of them, but it's sort of, it is getting actually a little bit of a resurgence, isn't it? Through Anna Lapwood.
Through Anna Lapwood, yes.
Who is a fabulous organist.
Yes,
if you've not seen
she's
her,
amazing.
absolutely fabulous. She plays the organ often on social media. Royal Albert Hall,
Mm.
late at night. She's got her phone, she's playing away,
Mm.
and she's sort of, I want to say, reignited the beauty of playing
Yes.
the organ, because
Yeah.
she's not just playing church music, she's playing secular music as
Yes.
well.
Yeah.
Have you found that younger people are coming to
Yes.
you?
So we would say we sell a lot of instruments that are refurbished, that go to young people for practice instruments.
Mm.
And over the last, I would say in the last 5 years, we've sold as many as we had sold in the previous 30 years, have
Wow.
gone to youngsters between 12 and 18 years old who are learning, who perhaps started with the piano and now they've moved on and they're wanting the challenge of playing the organ. And I think people like Anna Lapwood have had a massive influence on that, because they've suddenly realised they don't have to just play it in church. They can play the film music, the Hans Zimmer, all the things, the amazing things that Anna does with the organ. So yeah.
Oh, well, I'm glad
Mm.
to see that there's a resurgence and
Mm.
hopefully for the future, a new wave of organ
Absolutely.
players for
Yeah.
sure. Now, you build organs here in the
They're
UK.
not built in the
Are
UK.
they not built in the
No,
UK?
we used to
Where'd you
build them
build
in the
them?
UK. We build them with our partners in Macungie in Pennsylvania. So the relationship started with my father and Jerome Markowitz. In 1969, who was the founder of Allen Organ Company, and now I work with Steve, his son, and he's now the president of the company. But everything is built in Macungie in Pennsylvania. We design them in the UK, but they're built out in the States.
Oh, wow. So it really is a joint venture.
Yeah.
And are you shipping them around the world then?
Absolutely. My husband, Paul, is our service manager, and he's just come back from 2 weeks in Sierra Leone, installing large organ in Freetown. And yeah, we install all over the world. And we'll build you anything you like and put it anywhere you like.
Oh, that's impressive.
That sounds awful, doesn't it?
No,
Sorry,
no,
you know what I mean?
that's really impressive though, that you're able to really
Yeah,
bespoke
yeah,
something for
yes,
someone.
yeah.
And do you have any stories, I suppose, of any far-flung places of how an organ has changed a community or a life of a
I
church?
think probably the Sierra Leone
Hmm.
contact that we have. We put our first instrument into Sierra Leone in 1996. My husband went out and did that, and over the years, they the church community out there was reliant very much on pipe organs, which in that very hot environment can be very unreliable. They go out of tune quickly and everything else. And we've now got a huge number of instruments in churches all across Freetown, where they just turn on and they work. We're unique that we tropicalise the consoles as well, because there are issues with bug infestations, all sorts of things interesting creatures that will nibble their way through your wooden console. So we pressure treat them to stop that happening. And yeah, so the organ that went in 1996, we saw a couple of weeks ago, and it's still there and it's still performing and it's doing everything it's supposed to do. And yeah,
That's pretty impressive.
yeah,
And I suppose you don't even think of that when you're sending an organ to somewhere like Sierra
yeah.
Leone. You don't ever think of, I guess I certainly wouldn't
Mm.
think about it, of all the bugs that might go inside and things like
Yeah.
that. I guess it's a unique thing to be
It's
having to
Yeah,
consider when you're building
yes, yeah,
something.
yeah. So we have to. So when we build an instrument for a more tropical environment, we tropicalize the console, but we also tropicalize all the parts, because obviously the amount of humidity in the air, everything will all the screws would rust,
Hmm.
and that kind of thing. And if you're expecting an instrument to last 30, 40, 50 years, you need to make sure it's built so that it does not go rusty and it does not fall to bits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. Now, you're here at CRE
Hmm.
2024 in Milton Keynes.
Hmm.
Have you really enjoyed being here?
I've had a wonderful time. I first started coming to CRE when I was 16 years old with my dad. Um, Probably shouldn't say this like on anything, but I used to play hooky from school to come up and
We won't tell them.
Being at Christian Resources at Sandown. At the time, I was at school in Cobham, and my dad used to come and whip me out of school so I could go and be on the show stand with him. I love talking to people. It's the great pleasure of what I do is I get to talk to people about organs and people who are interested in church organs, and that's all. Yeah, they always say, you do what you like, you never work a day in your life. And I think especially here, meeting like-minded people and churches and having that contact is just It's wonderful, and you never know what doors you know who you're meeting and who I'm just handing a business card to, who might come back in 3 or 4 years' time. But yeah, it's always good fun.
Lovely. Now, if somebody would like to come and find you online and talk to you about organs and all the different kinds of amazing things we've just been talking about, where's the best place they can find you?
So our website is www.allenorgans, that's ALLENORGANS.co.uk. And on there, there's phone numbers and everything and email addresses, or just pick up the phone to us and have a chat. We have a big showroom with best part of 30 organs in High Wycombe, and we are always happy. I'll sit and talk about organs to you till the sun, cows come home.
Well,
Sorry.
thank you so much for coming
You're
to
very
talk to us
welcome.
about Allen Organs. And if you want to find out more about what's happening at CRE this year, some of the exhibitors, or perhaps you'd like to book for next year, why don't you go online? It's creonline.co.uk.